I feel good about those guys. I was really encouraged with the way that John came in, had a couple of big plays, that third down conversion. Obviously, on our second to last touchdown drive in the game was huge. They had cut it to 3 points and big third down, 18-yard gain. And I thought he blocked well. It wasn't too big for him. He's played, and then Samus, I think, got in there 4 plays, and he did some all right things. And then we'll get him geared up, to step into that role if we have to. But those guys, they've done a great job all year of preparing, and that's why if they're on your team, they're going to play at some point, and you got to prepare those guys. And our coaches, and specifically Coach Hayner, Pete does a really nice job with those guys. So we'll be ready to go.
For Taylor, what did you like in the game against Hampton? What areas did you see as improvement?
I think and it wasn't all pretty, but for the most part, it was really good. I think that the third downs was the biggest thing that was the best. I mean, to convert, first off, to have 19 third downs is a lot, but to convert 11 and 19, and then even on some of the ones that we didn't convert, we had a 3rd and 13 that he made a great decision to get the ball to JD. JD made a play, and then it allowed us to go for it on 4th down, and he made a great play on 4th down as well. And then, the other one we ran the ball and then ran it again to get the 4th down. So I just think his decision-making on 3rd down, a couple of the sacks, there were some times that he could have got the ball out. But just overall, just playing fast, understanding and learning from each experience, as they come is the thing that he's just getting better at, and just dealing with the week in, week out grind.
Taylor talks about sometimes looking iffy in practice and how things slow down and look clearer for him in a game. What can you do as a coach to maybe help him in practice? Or I guess when you have a guy like that, what do you do in practice to try to bring him along?
Sometimes that's just kind of how it is. I mean, and it's not like necessarily negative. It's just like, okay, we're looking for a play against a certain look, and in practice is the first time he sees it. And then if we're doing a good job, then we end up getting that same look in practice. It's like almost like an aha moment, as it happens. Also, you're trying to get a look and from the defensive show team, and maybe it doesn't, those guys do a really good job, and our younger coaches do a really nice job of getting those guys in the right position, but it doesn't always match up perfectly. So maybe it's like, why is this route concept in? It's like, well, they play it a little differently. We couldn't quite replicate it. And then you get the look in the game, and things tend to clear themselves up. But, a lot of those things, and you only have a limited amount of reps in practice as well, so you can't show them every single look. You definitely can't show them every single look full speed. So a lot of the things we like to do in, film study or in walkthrough, you may get a secondary look and just be ready to be prepared for that.
So you're saying being a gamer is almost just like a byproduct of familiarity that you have to build.
Yeah, I mean, and not everybody's like that, either. And I think specifically, I understand your question a little bit better now. I think for him too, like in practice, it's like, okay, and a lot of players think this way, like, I'm trying to run this play exactly how it's run, and I want to do, he's a conscientious guy. He wants to do exactly what's right. And in the game, it's like, I'm just trying to go make a play, and you let your training take over, and then it's just a little bit more natural for Taylor or for guys like that, Whereas there's other guys that go the other way, now they try to be way too perfect in a game, and that's when, things can go bad.
What did it mean to have Brandon Sheriff back on last week, and what have you kind of made of the offensive line in general?
I think the line's done a great job. We've had guys kind of in and out of the lineup. The left side's been pretty, has been, in there the whole time, and they've done a nice job. Brandon's the leader, not only of the offensive line, but just of our offense. He's one of the leaders of our offense. So just to have his presence in there, it brings some confidence to the rest of those guys. There's a certain physicality, obviously, that he plays with, and consistency where he's going to get his job done. And I think just he's a guy that guys like playing next to, for the offensive lineman, and having Chase out, and now Tyler in there. Sorry, I was saying Taylor. Tyler in there. Having Brandon next to him is a big add.
I think Going back to the tight ends, we've seen John Bates kind of in a blocking role because rookie Seals Jones is, caught and Logan too. But how would you kind of assess where John is catching the ball, and even Sam is too, just that they have to be more involved in the passing game?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not giving away any secrets here. Like John, he can't run as well as Logan or Ricky, but he catches the ball every bit as good as those guys. He's a big target. He has excellent quickness. So there's just certain things that he's able to do. I mean, the seam route, that's a big target. The safety went to hit him and missed, you know what I mean? Because I think a little bit of that, you go to hit a big guy like that, it's not the most fun thing to do, So that's something that he brings, he's got a little more size than those guys. And, he does a nice job of blocking, and he's even getting better and better. But, he's a young player that's progressing, and he's going to have to, step up for us just like he did in the second half. Now he's just got to do it over the course of a whole game.
I have a tight end question, too. I wanted to ask about Samus. Was there an intent of maybe not playing him this year as much as possible just because of the learning curve, and where do you stand now?
No, it's not necessarily that. It's not like we, didn't want to play him. It's just that we had guys ahead of him, on the depth chart. And maybe it is because of that, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like necessarily this is the plan. We wanted to play him based on, where he sat with the rest of our team. And but he's been a guy that you can see the improvement every day. I think that, this time having not being forced into live action will be good for him. But, he's going to get an opportunity, whether it's this week or, the way, things have been going, at some point in the season. And but I do think that, being able to learn and not just be like, hey, you just started playing football. You played in your first game ever of any level in the preseason. Now it's live. I think this little bit of time and being able to practice and, acquire reps has been a good thing for him.
Going back to John, because he's a rookie, and you said, he's got the size, he can catch and all that. What are some of the little things that he still has to get used to as a route runner that can help him maybe create a little bit more separation or anything like that?
Just always playing fast, always, playing with speed. I think his strength and what he's going to do is the quickness part of it. Just doing the details as far as the depths of the route, releases, what I mean? At what point to put your foot in the ground and separate away, all those things. Protecting the football once you do catch it. Obviously they called him down, but the ball came out. We can't have those types of things happen. But just the biggest thing is just honing in on the details and doing exactly what he's coached to do and being at the right spot when he needs to be.
And if this falls down, we'll make sure somebody calls.
Yeah,
plays
it's all good. I think we'll be all
Okay.
right.
There's obviously a big game for Ron going back to Carolina. A lot of guys here, as you know, who have ties to there.
Right.
What do you think this game means to Ron, and how deep could you tell Carolina meant to him and him to Carolina?
Yeah, well, just being there with him for 4 years and, it was split up as well. Coach really put a lot into that team and then also into the community. He enjoyed living there. Him and Stephanie, they really had a lot of ties there, and they still got a lot of friends that are there, Coach has done a really good job this week of just expressing the importance of this game for our team, you know what I mean? And not really for him. He hasn't made it about himself. But, obviously it's that elephant in the room. That, this is an important game to Coach. I mean, he was there for a long time. And I think that, it's a game you're excited to go play and go play for him.
I don't know what you make of various analytics out there about the offensive line play, but for you guys, the numbers are pretty positive for Charles Leno in particular. Just curious, what has he meant for you guys? What kind of stability has he provided for you guys along the line?
Yeah, it's been great, to have a guy that lines up at left tackle and does his job, and does above that. I mean, again, he's been really doing a nice job of moving guys in the run game. He stays in front of his guy, blocks the guys in the pass pro. Again, it's another veteran, so just that leadership, for when we have a guy like Brandon out, a guy like Charles can step up. But no, I think the line, and they've dealt with a little adversity with, some moving pieces here. But, they've done a nice job, of all year of both in the pass and the run game.
And as far as like Sam Cosmi, obviously he hasn't come back yet, but he looks like he's practicing a little bit more. What can you say, like where he is at, like the time off? Do you have any sense it's maybe any setback for a rookie, or does he look like he's kind of picked things back up?
No, I think he looks like he's picking stuff back up. There's a little bit, and it wasn't. I don't think it was so much as a rookie. It's just coming back from the injury and just the limited mobility. But as far as like mentally and everything like that, he's been staying in it the whole time, and I think that I think he'll be fine when he gets back out there.
You lined up Antonio as a receiver a few more times, or at least a few times on Sunday, using him in the slot and on the outside and throwing to him. I know it's not as simple as just, let's get this guy out here. There's many pieces to move around. But what did you like about that on Sunday, and do you think maybe we'll see that more kind of going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to mix that up. I mean, obviously we have, we got two backs that can do a lot of that. I mean, Antonio, the thing that I was really the most happy with him about in the game was how hard he ran. It didn't show up in the yards per carry per se, but when you look at that defense and how successful they are at stopping the run, and then how he ran the ball, and then specifically how he ran the ball at the end, and how we finished that game running the football on that last drive, that was the thing. And that's what, he does. And, we've talked about earlier in the year about, his body and not wearing down. So, you can't, as much as I'd love to do everything with him, like you can't have it both ways. We're going to pick and choose our spots to do some different kinds of stuff with him. And fortunately for us, we have a guy who's just excellent, in that role in JD, who's been a highly, highly productive receiver. But Antonio does have a little bit more, a little different that he brings to you just because of the size, and then doing some of the stuff. Now Antonio had two big catches. One was on a second down, one was on a third down. So, he can do some of the stuff on third down, but some early down stuff is good for him as well.
And on that final drive, that's where a lot of that hard running occurred. When you're calling a possession for that long, do you feel the need to get up and stretch a little bit? And what was that like for you?
It didn't feel like that long at the time. Obviously I was aware of the clock because that's a big part of managing it, and we wanted to take as much time as when we got the ball at 10:55 left, I wasn't thinking like we were in 4-minute offense. Obviously, we evolved to that as the drive went on. But, once you got into, we were using, the whole clock, and we were specifically talking about getting it down as low as you can. Once you got in that 4-minute, they started using their timeouts. But no, I was pretty locked in. I wasn't thinking about much other than trying to keep getting first downs, and then fortunately we were able to finish it in the end zone with whatever it was, 27 seconds left. And it was a great deal. It was a great testament to our guys, just the way that they finished that thing off.
We love having the premium guys. Chase and Montez are both, terrific players. The younger guys that are going to play get an opportunity, and so clearly they're not going to be able to do the same things, but we'll ask them to do their job. Be prepared, play hard, compete, and just be part of the team. And it's a team effort. And defensively, we need to do all we can to slow down guys like McCaffrey and make sure that we're getting pressure on the quarterback and help us get off the field on third down.
How do you feel the secondary's been playing in recent weeks?
I'm not a big evaluator of things. We're working hard at it. I think we've seen some improvement, and we still have some work to do, a lot of work to do.
When you guys were using 5 defensive linemen at times earlier, particularly earlier in the season, it seemed at least part of the reason, some strategy obviously, but part was a chance to get your better players out on the field. In light of Case and Montez being out, it seems like maybe with your depth of defensive tackle, that would be something to consider here. I know you're not going to say from a game plan perspective, but is it as simple as saying we'll put out the best guys even if they're not exactly ends, or is it more complicated than it's playing guys out of position even if they're better players, maybe not the ideal situation?
Yeah, we're going to try and utilize the guys we have in various packages to slow them down the best we can, and there's always a mix. We've used some 2-man D-lines with more backers out there and DBs, and all the way to 5, and we've even had 6. So we mix it up a little bit in terms of how we're deploying the guys, but at the end of the day, when we're doing the things we need to do, shedding blocks, leveraging the ball, tackling, having Russian coverage work together, regardless of how you deploy them, those are things that help you play really good defense.
Settle, I think, only had a handful of snaps last game. He's obviously been part of the rotation. Was that just sort of circumstantial, or was there or anything else kind of going on with him at this point?
Yeah, no, nothing at all going on with Tim. Tim's done a nice job for us. We weren't in packages that utilized him as much, and we didn't play as many snaps. That's a large part of it. So that was a good thing. We had more things ready to go that weren't called upon due to the situations in the game.
Cam presents a unique challenge, and then you're not sure how much he's going to play. He's just coming off, being a free agent for a while. What type of things are you emphasizing for the defense this week as you get ready for him specifically?
Well, clearly they have their system. There's no way he can learn all of their system in 2 weeks. So there's going to be the part that they pick and choose and decide to use. We anticipate seeing both quarterbacks. And so we've prepared that way, knowing that some of the things that Cam's good at, I'm sure they'll utilize, which they showed a little bit last week. Some of the Q run, some of the Q power, some of that stuff that he does that he's unique. He's a unique guy. So super talented guy with the history. So there's the big backdrop going into this game, with Cam starting and Coach Rivera going back and all those kinds of things. But we're just trying to work as hard as we can to get ready to play.
Do you feel left out at all that you don't have any Panthers ties and this reunion's happening, but you just kind of have to go down there?
I'm okay. I'm okay. We got the Raiders coming up.
Oh, there you go. That's yours.
You talked a little bit about Christian McCaffrey and the challenges he presents. What makes him so difficult to face as a running back?
Yeah, supremely talented guy. I watched him back in high school at Valor Christian when my son Luke was quarterback on that team, and they won a state title. And it was no surprise that he would go on and be special in college, and he was, and then no surprise to me that he would go on and be special in the NFL because he's a special talent. He can run it, he can catch it, he can throw it actually. I mean, he can do it all, and he adds a dynamic to their offense that I'm sure they miss when they don't have him available, but he looks like he's back and healthy and ready to roll.
What do you remember about him that stood out, when you were talking about him and watching him in high school? What about him stood out at the time to you? What stood out?
Contact balance. He runs stronger than people think. People think he's a smaller guy. He's not a small guy. He's a muscular guy. He's not, he's not a big bruiser, but he is a guy that can run through tackles. And then he's very explosive. He makes people miss in the open field, and he can finish and go the distance. So, he's a guy, whether he's running the ball or catching the ball out of the backfield, he is a major threat. You bet.
Hey, Jack, 4 straight games holding the opponent under 100 rush yards. What areas have you seen that have improved from maybe the first half of the season?
I think basic understanding, fits, getting off blocks, and honestly, as we play better on third down, you have less opportunities against the run. I've always talked, when I talk to our guys, about how do you stop a great running team? And, guys say, oh, you got to do this and that. It's like, bottom line, get off the field on third down.
Would you say Landon's playing since he's closer to the line of scrimmage with more frequency now?
Atlanta's doing a solid job. We've moved him around. He's, that's probably talked about more maybe for other reasons outside of just playing the game and doing your job and doing what you can to help the team win. So I think he's done a nice job with his role. I think his energy's been great. I think he's been very productive over several games since we've been talking about this.
Hey, Jack, what's it been like for you as a coordinator to find the things that William Jackson is good at and also the ways that you want to play, your scheme and kind of figuring out that balance?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, William is back healthy, which is good. And, yeah, as you go through the season, you try and do more of what your guys do well and less of what they don't. And so I think we've worked at it as a staff, and we continue to teach, continue to grow, continue to develop, and that's what coaching's about, really. Come in every day and go to work and motivate and get you guys, battling tough. And I think we've done that. I think we have a chance to, put together a good streak here, a good string of defense to help our football team. And who knows what happens, but we know we're going to go every day and give energy and effort and try and provide clarity so our guys can play fast.
But like specifically with William,
What about what now?
I said, what has that process been like of figuring those things out with William?
Yeah, well, William, the whole team. I mean, the whole defense. That's part of what we do. I think for him to come in, it's a new system. He's picked it up and he's learning it and the details of it and being able to play faster and faster as we go. I think that's what we're seeing, and we have more room to go. I mean, we've got more improvement that I'm looking for and that we're looking for, and so it'll be the challenge starting with the Panthers.
I think Coach Matsko and Travell have done a good job at putting us through different situations. During practice they rotate people so that if one person does go out, you get the feel and you get to communicate with another person. So I think they're doing a fantastic job for us.
How do you guys kind of carry the momentum of this last win into this week?
It was a big win for us, and we just got to pick up where we left off last week and focus on the details that we could have done a little bit better. It was an exciting win, but Coach Rivera, said to flush it and move on and don't live in the past. So we're looking forward to playing the Panthers.
What are some of the adjustments that you make, playing next to Tyler instead of Chase?
I really haven't made any adjustments. Just besides the communication part, I played with Chase for 5 years, so he kind of knew what I did, and I knew what he did without really verbalizing anything. So with Tyler, it's just a little bit more communication and just getting a feel for playing next to each other.
On the outside, the line is playing as well as it has in a while, and Coach Ron Rivera has talked about the consistency. Does it feel that way also in the meeting room, and what would you attribute that to, if so?
Yeah, I think we've done a good job, but there's always areas to improve on, and it's just like I said, Coach Matsko and Travell, throwing us different looks at each and every time against different plays, and just repetition, and just doing our homework.
What was it like to miss time with an injury this season? Was there any part of you that was? I know you want to be out there, obviously, but
Yeah.
having just kind of another injury.
Yep, just bad luck. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but Wes did a heck of a job when he stepped in, and he did a heck of a job for us. So it was really good to see that.
Injuries always suck. You've been through this a few times now. Do you feel like you're acquainted with the process?
Yeah, like I said, you never wish for it, but it's just like I said, maybe bad luck. I don't know, just wrong place at the wrong time. But we got a heck of a training staff that got me back ready to go. So I'm just excited to be out there again.
As a team, what did Sunday do for you, being able to win against that caliber team?
Oh, it was a huge win, and that's our goal is to win every single game. So, we had that goal for that week was to win this week, and like Coach Rivera said, we need to move forward to the Panthers, and we're excited to do that.
With your mindset, how much did you enjoy a 10-minute drive to put away the Bucks?
It was great. You always want to finish with the ball because that keeps the defense off the field, you know what I mean? And just imposing your will a little bit. So being able to convert those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, or even the 4th and 1 on the goal line there to end the game was a big boost for us.
Do you guys, in the moment, recognize, wow, we've been doing this for 7 minutes. Is there any realization as it's happening, or is it something you kind of reflect on afterwards?
I think when they called timeout with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, we looked at the clock and said, holy, we already took 6 minutes off that clock. So, I think that's when we first realized it. But we're just going with the flow, and Coach Turner did a heck of a job for us.
When you go for it on 4th and 1.
Yep. That's the goal is we want to score a touchdown, and to be able to do that and say we were going to do it and come out with a touchdown, that was really good for us.
When you're able to play that physical and run, not that you guys are piling up these huge running numbers, but you're consistent, getting yards, what does that do to the mindset of an offense?
I think it just gives you a little more confidence that you can do anything. They were a heck of a D-line, and to be able to do that on a D-line like that gave us a little bit more confidence. But we just got to build off that and just improve.
Obviously, there are a few guys here who have ties to Carolina, you may have heard. Can you tell a difference, and even more specifically for Ron, what this week means to them?
I think every game's a big game, and that's what they always talk about is winning the next. Coach Matsko always talks about on Saturday night during pregame, he says you only have 17 special Sundays guaranteed. So, this is the next special Sunday. So every Sunday's special, so we're just going to treat it like that.
You've obviously played with a lot of different quarterbacks. We always hear about how Taylor seems to rise to the moment in some of these games, particularly it seems like against Tampa Bay. What stands out about him, whether it's in the huddle or on the field, and how does that help, if it does inspire you guys out there?
Yeah, he's confident, and when he gets a little bit of pressure, he doesn't back down. He finds a little gap and sneaks out, and he turns those into big plays. So I think we kind of feed off that energy and him improvising, on plays like that. We just feed off of it, and we really appreciate him back there.
And most importantly, as a man who appreciates a cold one, what do you make of Taylor's Bud Light endorsement? Are you jealous?
Bud Light, I wish it was Busch Light. I would have been a bigger fan, but shout out to Busch Light. So
work on that for you next time.
You got it. They have the camel cans now, so it's deer hunting season.
Antonio Gibson grow as a running back now that you've been blocking for him for a year and a half or so?
Yeah, I feel like last week he ran through some of those holes, and I heard some of those collisions and just said, wow. I said, good job, keep it up. We like to hear that collision. He's running through the hole, he's not stuttering his feet, so I think he's finding a little bit of a rhythm, and it's really fun to watch.
The Panthers have a really talented front seven. They also got a lot of sacks, through the first couple games this season. What do you think their front seven presents, and how do you guys kind of counteract that?
What's that, Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing up front. I think they're first in the pass. I don't know how many sacks, 30 sacks or something like that. So that's really impressive. The big guys in the middle like to push the pocket, and the guys on the edge are really quick guys off the edge. So they do a really good job at just playing how they're supposed to play and playing disciplined football. So we got a big task for us, and it's excited to play.
Do you think that the performance last week against Tampa Bay kind of helps your mindset and how you prepare for a matchup like this? Because you're probably going to be just as physical, if not more physical.
Yeah, Tampa was a very physical team, and I think, like I said, it just gave us a little bit of confidence that we can do it. We can play with some of the best teams out there. So we're taking that one step, and hopefully we can take another step forward on Sunday.